hope I suitably got your attention. I wanted to start off with just a couple of quick moves because that's what people think about the martial arts. They see a lot of kicking, blocking, punching, yelling, and we get that impression from movies and videos and TV games and things like that. But as Mrs. Ferguson said, that's not really what the main purpose of the karate training is about. My name is Scott Bullard. I am a Sensei, which means teacher at Canada's Best Karate. And first off, I want to thank you for inviting me into your Achievement Day today. Thank you to Mrs. Ferguson. I'm very honored to be here. I wanted to explain to you about what true martial arts training is so that you can understand it a little bit more. Now, when you see these kind of moves, it's very natural to think that, okay, kicking, punching, fighting, they go together, and it's not. The difference is in your intent. Now, the intent of fighting is to hurt someone. The intent of martial arts, or self-defense, is to stop someone from hurting you. Now, you can do that with your words, you can do that with actions, you can do that by walking away. When we're training in our karate training, when you get beyond just the physical movements, really it becomes about developing your character. The person who founded, who started modern karate, who introduced it to the world, he used to teach his students that the ultimate aim of karate lies not in victory or defeat, but in the perfection of your character. Now, what does character mean? Well, all you students here at your school, you have your character matters. You have your various character points that you study each month. And those are some of the ideas that we're talking about in karate. Specifically, some of the character developments that my students are working on are confidence, to apply yourself to new things, self-discipline, to follow through on actions that may be difficult but require that extra effort, focus or concentration, the ability to follow through on that one topic until you get to that end result. But how do you develop that through kicking and punching? Well, anytime that you set yourself a very high goal to try to achieve a very high level in some sort of activity, you're going to develop some of these qualities. Whether you're an Olympic athlete, whether you're a musician, or a martial artist, by setting these high standards for yourself and applying yourself and pushing yourself beyond where most people do, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. What makes martial arts unique in that aspect is because while we're learning about ourselves, we're also learning about conflict. We all have conflict in our lives. We all have arguments with people. We all have times where we have disagreements. We all have situations where maybe two people want the same thing. And when we get into these kind of situations, whether they're just with friends or family or with people we don't know, we always have a natural reaction to either be afraid or to be angry, to be aggressive. Well, when you're studying your karate training and you're always thinking about these situations and you're analyzing them, when they happen to you, you don't need to react out of fear or aggression because you know that through your karate training, through your physical skills, that you don't need to be intimidated or fearful of people. And that allows you to free your mind to choose other options, to find other solutions, to avoid the situation, to walk away without having to feel like you were coward or timid, to be able to stand up to somebody and assert your position without having to resort to violence to change their mind. Today I'm going to be presenting some of the moves in karate. Now, before we do, I wanted to tell you a little bit of a story first. And this is a fable that's sort of been handed down from the time of the samurai. Now, the samurai were sort of the warriors in Japan, and not only did they train in the empty hand martial arts, but also in the weapons martial arts. And this story is about a samurai whose name was Bokuden. Now, I want you to imagine that back 400 or 500 years ago, people would travel around by cart, by foot, walking, by horse. And when they came to a river, they would have to take a ferry across that. So on this one particular day, there was a group of travelers, farmers, peasants, business people, and samurai crossing in this particular ferry. And there's this one samurai who was bragging about himself, boasting about the battles he'd won and how great his skill was and how people were very fearful of him. And so everyone was listening and, trying to be polite to him because they didn't want to upset him. And then one end of the boat was Bokuden, and he was just lying back having a nap, not really paying attention at all. And this really bothered this samurai. So he stood up and he yelled and said, "Hey, you! You don't seem very impressed. What is your style of training?" And Bokudan looked up and said, "My style is the art of fighting without fighting." He said, "The art of fighting without fighting? I've never heard of such a silly thing. Show me your style." Now that was a way of politely saying, "I challenge you to a fight." And Bokudan says, "I don't engage in physical conflict." The samurai got really mad at this. He said, "But you wear swords." He says, "Oh, these are just to frighten away robbers. I don't use them." He says, "I demand to see your style of fighting without fighting." Well, everybody on the boat got really scared at this point because you imagine it's not a very big boat and all of a sudden swords are going to be coming out. Bokudan said, "All right, but not here in the boat. We'll have the ferryman take us to that island over there." Samurai said, "Agreed." So they walked, the ferryman directed them over to the island, and as they got close, the samurai jumped out of the boat, turned around, got on the beach, drew his sword, and started to make some waving passes, warming himself, preparing himself. Bokudan got up, kind of stretched a little bit, walked to the end of the boat, looked like he was about to get out, when he grabbed an oar and he pushed the boat back out into the water, leaving the samurai stranded on the beach. And as everyone was sort of laughing and pointing, he yelled out to the samurai, "That is my art of fighting without fighting." And you see that by training your mind and looking for other options, you don't always have to deal with conflict in a physical way. I'm going to invite my student up today, Peter Pasternak. To join me in giving a brief karate demonstration. And what we're going to show today is one of the training methods that's very typical in karate, which is the kata, or patterns. And then we're going to have Peter give a little display of some of the skill and strength that can be developed through the art of karate training.